Welcome back to a full episode of Unsportsmanlike Conduct. I got Ben. He's back. Got my co-host.
We back.
We
Right.
are back.
Season 2.
See, we can call it season 2.
It's season 2 now, right?
I
Otherwise, we that like I've had it in my head. This is season 2, so I'm expecting a sophomore slump, if you will.
oh
So
no, it's gonna be a banger this year.
we're gonna go overtake the Kelseys now. Is that what we're doing?
Sure, why not? Sign me up.
I mean, it would be really cool to go challenge the Kelseys in just about any. Honestly,
I would just want to go hang out with them. Just give me that.
yeah. Still working on that. I'll let you know that there's some really big Chiefs fans at the Capitol and where I work, and we've been trying like heck to get the Chiefs to show up, but we do get little pieces of intel like Jason Kelsey is going to appear at the Chiefs training camp at some point. We also may or may not know where former Chiefs defensive end Jared Allen has a house in Tennessee. So we know some stuff now.
Well, you are more than welcome to give us the inside scoop. So, I will say that we will have some changes to this podcast this year. Uh, some more changes will be announced down the road. Still working on some other things to add in. One of the big things that, well, first, one of the big things I want to add into it is polls. You guys know I love polls. It'll give us talking topics for whenever we record episodes. And the idea is that we'll post a poll, or you guys could post a poll in Discord, and then Ben and I will talk about it. We'll share our opinions, whether we agree with how the poll went, whatever. We'll just argue to argue too. Why not, right?
Yeah, as I
Um,
say, there's some times where we agree, but I feel like we find plenty of times where one of us definitely has to take the other side, even if we really don't feel like it. It's a little bit of that, you know, uh, just some controversy, competition, maybe.
well, there's that, and it's just if there's enough, like what, I just want to argue with you, then yeah, sure. But sometimes it's the right choice is so obvious that you can't go against it. So, but we're gonna bring polls. Another thing that I'm working on is a new way to measure our matchups. Last year we kind of did it position by position. I still want to do it somewhat like that, but to have a better, concise measuring system on how we're going to do it here on the podcast. So if you guys want to do the same thing and share your thoughts in Discord, you can do that easily. Um, Outside of that, uh, don't have a lot more to share right now with the podcast. Um, Next
Well,
week,
it's episode 1.
well, it's episode 1, and
We haven't even draft yet,
I
so
I know, dude. We're I'm gonna actually talk about the draft real quick. So shared this all last week. I'm gonna share it again. We're like 10 days, I guess, really 9 days away from the time of this recording from the draft. The draft. Pull up my notes, make sure I read this right. Uh, August 24th, Saturday. We're doing it in Lynn at Ryan's house. Ryan shared his address there in Discord, so please take a look at that. Don't ask me for it. The start time for the draft will be 12:30. We'll be doing last place presentation around 12 or 12:15. So I encourage you guys to try to be there by 11:30. Definitely no later than noon. We'll hang out, we'll chill, and then we'll get started right away at 12:30. One of the reasons that we're doing it earlier, Ryan has a commitment out at the Lions Club there in Lynn, and I want to make sure we do our best to let him stick to that commitment. Um,
yeah, rodeo.
I don't want to plan on Mark being back in time to co-manage the draft with Ryan. I know Ryan he'll do just fine without Mark, but Mark I think he's expected to be back from overseas by then. I just don't think he's going to be in a position to be a part of the draft that day. So I'd want to make sure we're done uh, before Ryan has to go. Now, if we find out that day that Mark is around and he's joining us virtually, then it won't be that big of a deal if we get closer to that time because Ryan will be able to go and Mark could finish out the draft. So, um,
One quick little note there, Mitch. I think I've been pretty clear about this, but in some of our other chats, but I just want to get this out there one more time. Mark is a goddamn American hero. Just making sure everyone knows that. Mark, thank you for your service. We love you. Get back here. And goddamn hero.
amen to that.
All right. Anyway,
Um, the keeper draft portion will start at 8:30 that morning. I won't quite be at Ryan's yet. My goal is to get there around 9 or 9:30. But start texting me. Uh, well, I'm gonna reach out to you starting at 8:30. Um, if you know your picks prior to that, like no matter what, who's gonna pick, you could send those to me 24 hours, like the Friday before the draft. That will be fine. I'm gonna have my picks locked in, anyways. Um, so I don't expect whatever information you guys to give me to change. And I'm sure next week I'll be talking about who I'm probably going to keep. So I think it's kind of obvious who I'm going to keep after everybody looks at my team. So, um, and then yeah, and well, tonight by the time you guys are watching this episode, the drawing is going to be done, and I will share those results in Discord. And then next week on next week's episode, we'll talk about uh, the draft order, and we might even do a prediction like we did last year. So, um, I think that was really all that I want to talk about the league right now. There's no league changes, no scoring changes, no bonus changes, no platform changes. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, I was gonna present possibly switching to sleeper. One of the reasons why, well, most of you guys know, uh, almost all of you are part of a dynasty league that I started, which that won't be the focus of this podcast. It's going to be this keeper league. But the sleeper platform, there's just a lot going for it right now, and the communication inside that app, I think, has been perfectly fine. I thought about trying to throw pitch to move this league over to sleeper. My main reason against that, or why I decided not to make that pitch, I can't do the same kind of bonuses uh, in sleeper that we currently have in Yahoo. So until league reset, I think I'm pretty firm. I think we're just going to stick with Yahoo unless those league settings become available in the sleeper app. So, but otherwise, there's no changes in this league. It'll be the same as last year. Just more people have already won, and I think, well, yeah, we're on league reset watch. So maybe Ben or I could finally win one.
I say you say we're on league reset watch, but I don't see it. I don't see it. Not
Yeah.
this year.
Okay.
No.
Hey, I'm down. Let's let this go the distance, man.
You want some hot takes? I can throw them out there already.
I'll be interested in those hot takes here soon. Um, all right, Ben, I want to get into some of our topics for tonight's episode. Um,
Let's do it.
okay, and I'm gonna have a poll for this. I'll probably post it tomorrow after this video is shared. But you brought up an excellent question. How many fantasy football leagues is too many? Um, I know before I answer that question, I definitely think there's a number. I've felt like I have exceeded that number in years past, um, because it just gets overwhelming and you kind of lose some interest because you get to a point where like I just don't care in this league, or you have to pick your favorites, which I always hope this league is the favorite, but there's just fatigue that starts to build, and even on the leagues that are your favorite. So,
Yep.
so Ben, this was your question. I want you to answer this one first. How many leagues? Well, how many leagues are you in this year?
All right, so here's why this question occurred. Which every year I'm pretty well known for doing at least 4 leagues, and this year things took a drastic turn. Um, up the last time I talked to Mitch prior to this podcast, I have 6 teams, and I regret to tell you, Mitch, that that number has changed within the past 24 hours. It's now 7.
It's I know two of those leagues are with me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that goes for most of the people in this league. But you're in seven.
Yeah. So
So
I've got this league, obviously, in our new dynasty league. That's 2 of them. I've got 2 through people at work. So there's another 2. I've got a dynasty league that Mitch and I. Well,
I used to be in.
yeah, Mitch left the league, but I'm still in it with Andrew. And then yeah, trying. Oh, First Play League, still in that one.
You
And
almost have to keep going with that one, right?
right. and uh and then the last one I got invited to one by my buddy Connor today because they were trying to set theirs up, and they actually had one of the guys in their league pass away, so
Oh
they're kind
man,
of looking for somebody to fill that spot. And I agreed to do it because uh the buy-in, everybody in that league collectively agreed that there's no pot this year. All that money goes directly to that guy's charity. So
that's
yeah,
awesome.
that one kind of swung me. I was like, all right, yeah, I can definitely do that. That'll be fun. So there
Well,
you go. I'm
good,
doing my good deeds through fantasy.
well, good on you. I think that would be definitely one of the exceptions I would put in to do another league. I don't have a work league. I'm in IT. Most people are introverts in IT. They don't watch sports the way that I do, or at least with football. I mean, I get excited about it. Uh, More of the women in IT are excited about football or Chiefs than the men.
Yep,
Um,
I
so
confirmed that because one of the leagues at work, our director of IT, her name is Joy, and she's in it, and I love drafting with Joy. Just so much fun because we both just start tossing back beers, having a good time, and we're always fighting over the same players every time. I love it.
um, but yeah, man. So so you're in seven this year. How many is too many?
I honestly think the cap should be 4. I don't think you should go over 4. 3 to me is a happier number, but yeah, if I had my way, I would probably cut some of these leagues. I can even point to one of the ones through work. I'm like, I wish this league would just die. Like,
You could always step away.
I could, but then that leaves them scrambling to, pick that up. And realistically, this league never gets together. There's no talk between them. Like, honestly, I only do it because it's nice to have that one league where you're clearly better than everyone else.
So I know for a handful of years I was in four leagues. This year I'm actually down to three. Uh, I left two leagues last year and then started a new one. Um, there's a league that my brother's in with a lot of his friends from New York that I would co-manage with him, and we stepped away from that league after this year. Rob, since he's had a Rowan, he just doesn't have the time to
Mhm.
manage it, and which is fine. And I told him like I'll make sure the lineup's filled and do all that, but I wasn't committed to that league like I am the others. And then there was the dynasty league that I was the same league I was in with you and
Andrew,
Andrew and Connor. Um, and that was something that I was really interested in doing, and it sparked an interest in me doing my own dynasty league. And really, I like if you remember, I told you I'm like I don't want to manage another league. I don't want to commission another league. I don't want to. dog on anybody, but I wasn't a fan of the commissioner and how things were going. And I know I was probably unfairly kind of comparing myself to him on how I would do things and just trying to keep things organized. And I was like, you know what? I think I could do this better, and I think I could do it with nearly the same core group of guys I have now, and I think it could be awesome. And then what can I do to just make it better? Like we don't really have money. We're gonna have a trophy that we'll throw money into, but that's it. It's there's sure if you have a couple of bad years, it's not like you're out money. Um, Another
No,
thing for us to talk about, and yeah,
it'll be good. It's I understood what you're thinking with that other league. Like you and I've had plenty of talks about how some of the things are handled in that, and I really do think that kind of gave us ideas about how a dynasty league should be run. So I think it's been a good experience for that. And
100%. So, but yeah, I'll be interested to see because I'm gonna ask for your input. How did this first year of the Dynasty League go compared to what you have seen so far in that other one? Because I did 2 years in that Dynasty League.
I think
So,
so.
but yeah, left those two. The Keeper League, our bread and butter. That has been going on forever. Don't see that ever changing. I have a Stallhuth, well, Millie's dad's side of the family. I've been in ever since I've been a part of the family. That's a fun league. That is one that I'm committed to through the end. That'll always be my number two league. And then now the Dynasty League. And I think, in my opinion, three is the magic number. I've been wanting to get back to three for a few years now, and I pulled it off. So I think if I ever got asked to be in a league, it'd have to be under special circumstances. Like, hey, we need a filler, or can you just make sure lamps are filled? We don't expect you to be heavily involved. I'm like, I can do that. Um, or if somebody wanted help, they're getting new into fantasy football, like, hey, can you co-manage? But like, I will kind of co-manage. I'm not gonna really tell you what to do. I'll provide guidance, uh, but if that would allow somebody to get into fantasy football, then that'd be great. So yeah, my magic number is three. It sounds like three is you'd be happier, but four is good too.
I recognize what it really is that if I have any form of a gambling problem, this is it. So really what it is I get to that point, I'm like, I've been without football for that long. Yep. And then I just go nuts. So add in the what three pick'em leagues I do a year too, and then I think Andrew could tell you all that when it comes to DraftKings, I have a serious problem. I like that somewhere in the realm of 15 to 40 lineups a week.
See,
Uh,
man,
but
DraftKings is fun, and the pick six that started last year, I thought was fun.
mhm,
Um, And I'm not, I might be out just a little bit of money, like maybe when I say a little bit, like less than 50 over the past like 5 years, because I've done
mhm.
so good about just doing dollar games and winning just enough. So I don't play it as hardcore as you and Andrew, but it makes games fun. I mean, if you're watching a Sunday night game or a Thursday night game, it puts a little bit more on the line. I'll never forget the story. If I did a $10 bid, I would have won over $100,000. Uh, that's cool, but of course, it never would have happened if I actually bid $10 because that's just how uh,
I'm
natures of the
saying,
world work.
I'm saying I'm doing like 20 lineups, but the caveat to that is that most of them are like 10-cent lineups.
Yeah.
But you get first place and you walk away with like $40
Yep.
on 10. So, it's really, I just like to keep it going and like that little extra thrill of like watching that and be like, oh, I do have a shot at here.
Yeah.
Just another little added thing to keep me interested in the games.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm gonna add two polls on this. I think I'm gonna add a poll. How many leagues are you in this upcoming year, and how many leagues are too many? And I'll put in options. So I'll be curious. I almost willing to bet ice cream you are in the most leagues.
I don't think
Um, I think a lot of people will be around my number or maybe just a little bit more. I think between 3 to 5 is where we're going to see most people. I don't know
Yep.
if anybody else in the league is only in two. I think, especially with the dynasty league now, I think most people are in at least three leagues. That'd be my guess. So, um, all right, Ben, I got a another topic. This one is hoping to get the inside scoop. The Kansas City Chiefs. They started
Uh,
talk. They're trying to get that new stadium. Um, I know there's at least Kansas is entertaining the idea. They're like, "Come on over. We'll pay for it. We'll fund it, and we'll do all kinds of that." Um, are the
yep.
are will Missouri actually let the Kansas City Chiefs leave or leave Missouri? Because
I
let
don't.
me tell you my prediction. I don't think they will. I think they'll be like, "All right, fine, we're gonna do it." Uh, and I bet they stay on the Missouri side of Kansas City. Um, and then yeah, that's just my prediction. I don't think they will leave. I think they'll find a way to make it work inside of on the Missouri side. Um, but what can you tell us?
Actually, I can probably tell you quite a bit, honestly. So, explaining where we're at right now is Kansas came up with an offer, and it's like $1 billion using what they call their star credits, like tax credits, and so that's the offer on the table. So you're never going to just look at one offer. You want to hear other things out. So
Hmm.
really, I'd like to hear what Missouri's proposal will be, if there will be one. But this all came about because there was a tax in Jackson County, which is where Arrowhead Stadium is, and it was 2/3 of a cent, I think, and that went on the ballot, and people really came out and voted no against it very strongly. But there's some question about whether they understood what they were voting for. Like, did they just read it and like, no, I don't want more taxes? But what it really was just voting to continue a tax that was already in place.
Oh.
That one got killed. That's where that's at. So, um, we just came off the primaries last week. So, insider baseball here is that Mike Kehoe won the primary, so he's the favorite to become governor in November. So Mike has been the most vocal of the gubernatorial candidates, who's made it clear he wants to find some solution that works to keep the Chiefs here in Missouri. The next Speaker of the House, um, John Patterson, he also is from Jackson County. He really wants to keep the Chiefs there. And then in the Senate, the minority floor leader for the Senate, the Democratic leader over there, uh, he was termed out, and he just took a position leading the Jackson County Sports Authority Complex, which is what
Hmm.
Arrowhead and Kauffman Stadium are. He took a job leading that, and so I would not. I would be really shocked if JJ Rizzo couldn't convince the Chiefs to stay. And I know that there's been some talks. I'm not sure how many of those talks I'm allowed to talk about yet, but
That's
there's
fine.
been. And I can say that the Chiefs president Mark Donovan has been meeting with uh, some of our politicians from Missouri. So
Okay. I mean, if you want to drop like one of the biggest exclusives about the Chiefs staying in Missouri or something like that on unsportsmanlike conduct, we might get to meet with Travis Kelsey and Jason
you
Kelsey.
know,
So,
that would be nice, but really, I don't think that. Look, the Chiefs mean a lot to the state of Missouri, and Missouri understands exactly how much it hurts whenever a team chooses to leave you. So
yeah.
I don't think that the Show Me State can take another one of those kind of
Mm.
hits. So, uh, especially since the Chiefs have been playing so well.
Oh yeah,
So, I think that something will get worked out. But just a reminder, everyone's talking about like this is imminent, it's coming. The They're still under contract at Arrowhead Stadium for at least another what 5 years.
I think to 30. I'm about to say 30, 2028
Yeah, it's
or
like 27 or something like that. But I don't know, but they still have a lot of time to figure this stuff out. But it would not surprise me if I'm hearing talks about that come January. So I think they'll figure it out. I hope they do. Otherwise, you guys will get to see me really start acting like Andrew.
well, I mean, I'm pretty vocal. I'm not a Chiefs fan. I hate the Chiefs. I'm a big Patrick Mahomes fan. I do like Travis Kelsey. I think he's entertaining. Andy Reid, got my old head coach, but I wouldn't want to see the Chiefs go away because then it just won't be the same dealing with all of you guys.
Yep.
And it's, I mean, for, because I got family, friends. I mean, like, I hated the Rams more than I ever hated the Chiefs. I felt terrible for Andrew whenever that happened. It's, yeah, it would suck. I mean, luckily I've never had to deal with anything like that. And I mean, even if the Eagles ever left Philadelphia, I wouldn't want to see that. Even if they had an option to come to Missouri, it's like, no, I don't. I mean, yeah, that'd be cool, but no, I don't want to do that. That kind of, it hurts the
Nice.
image. So, well,
Yeah.
hopefully, when all said and done, the Chiefs they stay in Missouri. You give this podcast the exclusive on that news, on that breaking news. Um, and yeah, that'd be pretty dope. So, um, all right, I'm gonna wrap up. Actually, I got two more things. One of them just kind of sharing some fun news, but I want to talk about uh 2025 Super Bowl predictions. I know
Oh God.
last year my prediction was Eagles and Chiefs, with Eagles winning. Uh, got Chiefs right getting in there, and then the Eagles, well, let's just say they wet the bed and they never cleaned the sheets after week 11 or 12. And
12.
yeah, the Chiefs, I mean, they won. Now you had the Chiefs winning, right? So arguably you won the challenge, but didn't you have them going against like the Vikings?
I did. Yep. I really thought that the Vikings were set up to be one of those dark horses last year, and I was very very wrong.
They're one of those teams. Like man, they have the next black cat in their organization. Lots of just bad luck this year. Luckily, I think Addison's going to be fine after that news broke this week. I think he
Well,
just
yeah, yeah.
twisted his ankle, but man, but who knows? Maybe Sam Darnold will come in and light it up. I mean, he's playing for a starting spot in the NFL,
Yep.
so so
You never.
we'll see. But 2025 Super Bowl predictions. Since you technically won last year, the floor is yours. What's it gonna be?
I feel like since I technically won, I should be able to choose whether I want to go first or last.
If you want to put that evil on me, you go right on ahead.
Well, I feel like you should probably give me your answer.
Okay. Um, it's it, I'm gonna cautiously say no. Screw it. It's gonna be Eagles and Bengals this year. Um,
I had
I,
to pause take there.
so I'll explain why. I'm sure I'm aggravating all the Chiefs fans. Uh, so first with the Eagles, there's really there's one team I could see getting in their way. Now I'm putting a lot of faith that we actually have a good offensive coordinator now and a good defensive coordinator because I think the Eagles team was already talented enough to win it last year. Yeah, we lost Jason Kelsey, but I think we'll be fine. I don't know what teams are going to defend against, but the only team in the NFC that I could see getting in the Eagles' way would be the 49ers. Um, Outside of that, unless the Packers do something wild, because I think they can. I don't think they will, but I think they're a team that could surprise unless they get into the mix, or if the Lions can do what they did again last year. Was a good team. I can't see them doing the same thing. I think they're going to fall off a little bit. They'll still be in the mix, but I think they're going to fall off. They're not going to be as dominant. So the path to prosperity, so to call it, I think is going to be easier for the Eagles than your Chiefs. Now, I don't think the Chiefs will three-peat,
Mm.
obviously, based on what I said. Now, if there's ever a team that we're ever going to watch that's going to do it, it will be a Patrick Mahomes Chiefs, and it would be right now. I just think there's too much against. Like, I'm playing the odds. I don't think it's going to happen. But if it does happen, will I be surprised? Not in the slightest. Um, I think last year, I just think the Bengals, they're going to rebound. Not that there's much to rebound. They dealt with injuries, lingered all throughout the year. And Joe Burrow is out. I think Burrow's want to come out, make a statement.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think there's going to be an even bigger target on the Chiefs this year than there was last year. I think some
Yeah.
teams were starting to write them off because they struggled, and then things were ticking in the playoffs. The offense still wasn't the greatest in the playoffs, but it was actually ticking. Their defense was amazing. Their offense, because I don't think Rice is going to get suspended this year. I think it's going to be next year if he does get suspended.
Yep.
Every reason to be way better this year. Every reason to be way better. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna say Bengals. I think Ravens will be in the mix. Um, we'll see what happens with Houston. I mean, we're gonna find out if CJ Stroud's the real deal, uh, and not just make sure last year wasn't a fluke or an anomaly. I don't think it was, but you want to see that second year or third year before you're like, yep, that's the real thing. But yeah, Eagles and Bengals, and I'm gonna pick my team to win it.
Well, you're wrong. That's how I'm gonna start. Um, this should be no surprise to anybody. I am going to pick the Chiefs to win it all. I think they get the three-peat. Um, but I think they're going to get it by beating the exact same team that they won in the Super Bowl against last year. I think the Chiefs and the 49ers are both headed back there. And
I can see it.
yeah, I mean, and odds are there. Both of those teams really haven't changed that much from last year. Just really tremendous rosters right now.
Hmm.
But it's preseason, so everyone's high on everything right
Oh
now.
yeah.
So, but I think that you are right. I think that there's probably three teams in each division. I mean, in each conference that are the front runners to win their conference. So, AFC, I think you're talking Chiefs, you're talking Bengals, and you're talking Ravens. Those are your three front runners. NFC, you've got to be talking Eagles, you've got to be talking 49ers, and Detroit's probably your third pick because just look at what they were able to accomplish.
Hmm.
And that team's so hungry to get there. So, I mean, it would not surprise me in the slightest if we get to February of 2025 and we're talking about the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl. It would
Yep.
not at all. So, some combo of those six, I think, is probably what the answer is going to be. Um, I'll take Chiefs and 49ers, though, just because I think that there's just so many opportunities for them to just get a little bit better. And, if they can hold on and play like they did last year, then
Yeah.
yeah, they're both hard to beat. So that'll be my pick. I'll take Chiefs for a three-peat.
Fair enough. I think there's a lot of people, or at least Chiefs fans, picking the Chiefs to win again. Um, so yeah, I mean we'll see. That's part of the exciting part of this. I think Lions and Eagles they're going to have the same deciding factor. It's going to come down to the head coach. Um, so I think the supporting cast for the Eagles is better because they got a better offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. Uh, they kind of drew the short straw after they lost the Super Bowl the year before and had
Yep.
to scramble to get those coordinators in place. But I think that will help them. But Lions, I mean, they love their coach. So, but he was their downfall last year, just like Nick Sirianni was for the Eagles.
Yep.
So we'll see.
Well, I think those are grown. So I think that once they figure out those kinks, those two teams are both going to be right back up in that mix. So I think we're primed for another fun year of football. That's the one guarantee, I think.
All right. So that was the last topic I really had for the podcast tonight. I do have one bit of interesting or exciting nugget of information. Doesn't really impact us, but this podcast it's influenced uh, my cousin and his group of friends. They're starting up a podcast. I told my cousin Mike about this earlier this year about what I was doing, and their league, just from the bits of information I get from them, they're pretty hardcore. Like they'll do destination drafts. I think they're they're either going to New Orleans this year or one year they went overseas or something like that. They're the league that does the ACT test if you get last place. Like they're heavily invested. Um, so I told them about this. They're giving it a go. I'm excited to see that. I might bring my cousin Mike on for an episode some night as a guest, and I know I offered to join them some night if they want to have me on, and maybe we'll have a collaboration. Maybe all of us could be on an episode some night. Um, but yeah, Ben, we inspired.
We've done something positive, you know.
Do, do you think there's a marketplace or a demand out there for fantasy leagues to get their own podcast going?
Um, I'm gonna go with probably not, but I guess it's more what your intent with your podcast is, because you and I have talked about it before. Like, our who's our audience? It's
Oh
our
yeah,
our own players, you know.
yeah.
So that being said, have we probably gotten a couple of views from people who aren't in the league? Yeah,
That
of course.
accidentally came across like, oh, what's this?
Right. So
So
yeah, it's out there. It's just it's a very niche market.
yeah, no, I would agree. And I mean, you could just look at some of the other leagues that you're in. How many of them are as serious as this one?
Oh boy. I would say probably two other ones are, but then there's also the caveat: do I take them as seriously as this league? Which no, it's
Not that you want to put any on a pedestal higher than another, but you tend to gravitate towards one as your favorite. Like this one always being my number one, and then the Stallheath League will always be number two for me. But so
when when I wake up in the morning and I decide that I'm going to go look at my lineups on the toilet. The first that I look at is always ours. And I hope that makes you all feel special.
it makes me
I'm
feel special.
really
So all right, well that's it for tonight's episode. After you watch this episode, if you haven't already, get in Discord, look at the draft order, because that will be getting done Thursday night, uh, yesterday from whenever you're hearing this. So, and yeah, I hope those that were able to join did join. So, anyways, season two, episode one is in the books. So, excited for another year. So,
yeah.
Ben, see you next week. See you, everyone.